YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back. Today I got the Carolina Panthers record prediction going game by game. I'm going to give you best case and worst case scenario as well. Doing this for every single team. You'll find a playlist on the channel with all these videos. Eventually get to playoff predictions, Super Bowl predictions. We'll do player rankings as well, so really excited about what's coming up here for the Goat House. For updates on the channel and for the NFL, follow our Twitter. It's on your screen. There's also a link down below. Please smash that like button, subscribe. And then for these videos, we're using playoffpredictors.com. You can go to the website and play along as well. There's quite a few teams that are tough to kind of predict. Panthers might take the cake, though. I mean, it's tough because I like their roster for the most part. There's so many players that I really like. You know, I'm a huge Brian Burns guy. You guys know that. I kind of predicted middle of last year that in the future he will lead the league in sacks, near future. So I think he can do that for sure. I think he was very, very close to having an insane amount more sacks last year. So he's very talented. I like the front, the defensive front in general. Derek Brown, they add Hassan Reddick to rush off the edge opposite of Brian Burns. So, they got some studs in there across the defensive line. They add J.C. Horn. That's where a big question mark comes into play, I guess, with the defense. You add J.C. Horn, and then everyone's questioning, well, that's kind of a man corner. The Panthers played more cover 3, which is zone, than anybody in football last year, and their defense looked pretty promising for a young defense. So where are you going to go? And they're kind of hinting at they'll play more man coverage. Man's pretty tough to play in the NFL. There's a reason why teams go more towards zone. But the main thing is Jeremy Chin kind of had almost a free roaming responsibility in a way. Played a little bit of safety, linebacker, was able to move around quite a bit, and that's how you get the best out of Jeremy Chin. If they're running more man, they're going to be lining him up more at safety. Kind of a question, will we see that same play out of Jeremy Chin? It's going to be harder to get that play out of him if he's going to be more man coverage. So I do worry about that a little bit. Will the defense take a step back before they take a step forward, which they eventually will? So that's pretty tough, even though I do like the front. I do like J.C. Horn. So we'll see what they do there. And offensively, I like their weapons. Of course, McCaffrey and the receivers they added on top of DJ Moore, who's extremely, extremely underrated. And, of course, you like Robbie Anderson as well. They had tight ends. You had Tommy Tremble. I like that. Hopefully McCaffrey stays healthy. But then you look at the quarterback and the offensive line. I'm not going to say this offensive line will finish dead last when the season ends. But I will say on paper, it looks like it could be dead last. So I do like Taylor Moton. Other than that, not much going for them. Would not be ideal if a guy like Pat Elflein starting for them. I think Cam Irving could be starting at left tackle. Not ideal at all. And I'm not a Sam Darnold guy. Of course he can get better. How much better is he going to get? The coaching staff didn't really work well with Teddy Bridgewater. So you worry about that a little bit. But I find it funny that people kind of question, why don't you think Sam Darnold's good? I feel like there's a lot of people like that, which I'm going to say, why do you think he's good? He hasn't proven anything yet. Sure, he can get better. Him with that offensive line, I don't trust it a whole bunch. So it's a tough team. There's so many bright spots across the team here. Weapons on defense. I named them off. But quarterback, offensive line, pass rush, most three important things in football. Quarterback, offensive line lacking here. So I'm a little worried. Because of those important spots, and who knows? Sam Darnold could play a lot better. I don't know by how much, though. That's the question. Jets, Panthers, anything can happen in week 1. We can't take anything away from week 1. Kind of want my gut on this one. I'm sticking to it. I don't think Sam Darnold gets revenge. I think that's a big mystery on what type of offense we'll see from the Jets with Zach Wilson. It's going to be a tough game plan for week 1. There really isn't a game plan. And I think Zach Wilson outplays Sam Darnold in week 1, and that will be the difference there. I think to beat the Jets defense, you attack those corners down the sideline. Keep it away from the safeties. You got to keep the ball on the sideline and get it over those corners. They're a little weak on the corner spot. So, but that's not super easy for Sam Darnold. So actually a true test in week 1. It's a doable task here, but it's also a test at the same time. So we'll see. But it also won't tell us much because week 1, random things happen. Saints and Panthers. That's really tough at the home game against the Saints is in week 2. Another one, going to be tough to play against that Winston offense. When you really don't have much to expect, game plan for, I should say. I think they're going to air it downfield. I do worry about the safety play of the Panthers. Saints defense may take a step down, not a huge step down. I like the Saints in this game. I mean, even, everyone's picking the Texans to win 0 games. The Texans are going to win some games. This is a very winnable game for the Texans Thursday night at home. I was kind of back and forth on this one. We'll give the Panthers this one, of course. The Panthers just have better weapons, so that'll be the difference here. And then they have, Brian Burns, Derek Brown, which the Texans don't have. So the Panthers are definitely the better team. I think the better team roster in the Jets, but that might not matter. The Jets, I think, are better quarterback already, and their offensive line much improved. It's week 1 again. I had the Cowboys beating them. This is probably a high-scoring game. I'm going to trust Dak Prescott and those weapons over Sam Darnold and that offensive line in a shootout here. Eagles, Panthers, another one that can go either way. Why I could argue the Eagles is people forget that pass rush, that front is absolutely nasty, even the rotation, one of the best in football. And that could be a problem against the Panthers' offensive line and Sam Darnold, who it tends to turn the ball over or make very poor decisions when under pressure. Footwork's a mess, decision-making's a mess. I don't think it's going to change by week 5, so that could be a problem. But I do think the collection of weapons for the Panthers could really help Darnold in this game, could be a problem for the Eagles' secondary, perhaps. I also think the Panthers could play a very solid game defensively. Eagles will be tough to game plan for or to play against. Jalen Hurts, a lot of these veteran defenses coached by veteran coaches, they're not really. That's maybe why they struggle against a guy like Hurts a little bit. But the Panthers got a very young defense. They got a college-minded defensive coordinator on top of that. So I actually think the Panthers went on defense in this game, and I think they'll make that extra play. Vikings, Panthers, where they blew that big comeback to the Vikings last year. Yeah, I like the Vikings defense a lot better this year as well. I don't think Sam Darnold is enough, to kind of keep up with the Vikings offense there. I'm going to take the Vikings. Panthers, Giants, another one I'm back and forth on. 2 quarterbacks that can turn the ball over a bit. Darnold versus Daniel Jones there. I like both defenses in different ways. The Giants more of a lockdown defense. I think the Panthers defense is the one that kind of creates the turnovers rather than the other way around in this one. So I'll take the Panthers. Definitely one I've been changing my pick on here. Take the Falcons. I just kind of had the idea that they split in this one, so we can go ahead and fast forward to that one right there. I think they'll split, win home games there. I mean, the Panthers get a little better, down the stretch with Darnold and some new players, young players there. Patriots, Panthers. Patriots defense, Belichick's defense, been a real big problem for Sam Darnold. This defense is better than it even was in the past here. So I'm going to take the Patriots, and that defense presents some problems. It's not one I'm back and forth on. The Panthers played the Cardinals pretty well last year. I think their pressure, their front gave the Cardinals some problems. I think that could actually happen again. The Panthers really won't be worried about the run. It's just staying kind of sticky in coverage until the pressure gets to Kyler Murray here, because he's going to try to roll out and hope someone gets open quick. This is where a game like J.C. Horn could actually thrive. It really could be the turning point. So I'm kind of back and forth in this one. Cardinals might be the more explosive team. I'm going to take the Panthers. I kind of like more of the matchup sides towards the Panthers. Washington versus Carolina. We'll see a long list of stud pass rushers in this game from both sides. I think just too much, though, for that Panthers offensive line and Sam Darnold. I think that Washington defense and front seven just too much. Dolphins, they're a defense that will give up some points, give up some yards. McCaffrey could have a day in this game, but what they do, better than anyone almost, is create turnovers, put their offense in key situations, and you're playing Sam Darnold. I think you create those turnovers. They're familiar with him as well, so I like the matchup with the Dolphins. We had them splitting here. I think the Bills, I think Josh Allen have success airing the ball deep downfield in this game. I also think the Bills' defense is very complete where, they're not going to completely stop the run or stop the pass, but they'll slow it down by a good amount there. Bucks, Panthers. I think the Bucks have them beat on both sides of the ball. I like the Bucks offense, but it's mainly their defense in this game. They're going to be able to stick with their top receivers. They're going to be able to stop the run. They're going to be able to get an insane amount of pressure against this offensive line. It's a pretty tough schedule. We know they're playing the Bucks twice. They play the Bucks, Saints, Bucks. Let's look at the Falcons schedule from last year. It's actually what it looks like. The Falcons schedule from last year. I mean, you got the Bills, you got the Bucks, you got the Saints, you got the Bucks. This is literally the Falcons schedule from last year, which I thought was the toughest in football. I just don't think they're going to win. They could be. We'll go back and do best case. It's a very, did not mean to do that. It's a very tough schedule. So 5 wins. I think this team is very capable of winning more than 5 games because, again, they got some studs. They got the weapons, McCaffrey, DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson. They added the tight ends. They had Terrace Marshall as well. Love that. David Moore's underrated. And you have Brian Burns, Derek Brown, Hassan Reddick. It keeps going on. I mean, you have Jace Yorn. You have Jeremy Chin. You have Shaq Thompson. So there's some. I want to predict this team to do more, but it's so tough when the 2 most important things in football are lacking for this team. I thought the offensive line looked pretty poor on paper last year, and it did not play poor. So I think this staff is very good at coaching offensive linemen. For some reason, people got it in their head that this staff is very good at coaching quarterbacks. It has not been proven yet. It actually might be the opposite right now because Teddy Bridgewater looked worse than he ever did, especially in crunch time down the stretch. And I did not like the play calling at all. Bridgewater definitely deserves some blame, but the play calling was atrocious down the stretch in crunch time. Remember the primetime game against the Falcons? Oh, that was some very poor coaching there. So they have something to prove, actually, the coaching staff. I think these big-name guys who I really like Matt Rule, I really like Joe Brady, but they have something to prove here. But back to best-case scenario, which we could change quite a bit here. I mean, they could get one on the Saints, of course. I had them beating, I had them beating the Cardinals, too. It's a tough schedule because I got them beating some of these games they actually might lose, I don't think they get one on the Buccaneers. I don't. It's a really tough schedule. We realize it more and more. Maybe we give them the Vikings. They were creating turnovers against the Vikings last year. They just kind of just blew a comeback. They were playing pretty well against Dalvin Cook, so maybe they beat them. I got them beating the Cardinals. I got them beating, the Saints once, the Falcons once. The Jet, it's a tough schedule. 8-9, looking at best case. Well, I thought the prediction was probably close enough to worst case where, my actual prediction was along these lines here. Right there, yeah. That's a tough one with the Saints. I almost wish for the Saints games, I almost wish it was flipped because I think either way they're more likely to lose this game. And if they were home against Saints in Week 17, I definitely think they could beat them. So that was kind of tough. But yeah, worst case is probably around, this range. I did have them beaten, they could lose to the Cardinals very easily. It's probably around the 4 wins. There's just too much talent though, like to be that low. It's really on the coaching staff, play calling, Sam Darnold, the offensive line, which I don't really doubt the play calling. It wasn't good in crunch time last year, but I like the coaching staff. I think we probably all of us are probably guilty of overhyping it because of the names there. But I don't really doubt them there. I don't really have a whole lot of trust in the quarterback and the offensive line outside of Taylor Moton there. I think they can make way, here and there, and the offensive line's not gonna fail them every game, but Darnold has to prove something. He has not proven anything yet. I wasn't high on him out of USC, so nothing that I've seen is surprising to me. It's surprising to a lot. That's why people are kind of attached still. They saw something. They believe in something. So, yeah, let's trust that. Let's see if he can get better. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to work right away. He could play very well in Week 1. Weird things happen in Week 1, but, as a whole, it's not going to work right away. So, we'll see what happens there. I know people won't be happy with me. They'll tell me I'm wrong about Sam Darnold, but I think people will just say that because he's your quarterback right now. There's nothing to say. Nothing out there. There's no proof out there that says Sam Darnold is a good quarterback right now. He can be. I think a lot has to happen, though. So those are my Panthers predictions. Tough one, but because, again, I do like a lot of some of these playmakers on this team. That's going to do it, though. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Follow us on Twitter. Make sure you like, subscribe, all kinds of NFL content here and on Twitter. So, join us for all of that. Be much, much appreciated. But, yeah, thanks for watching. Goodbye.